Welcome to uCertify CompTIA Network Plus N10-009 Must-Know Glossary Terms Part 3. Term: IP Address Management, IPAM. The systematic administration of IP addresses, ensuring efficient allocation, tracking, and maintenance within a network environment. Term: IP Header. Definition: information at the beginning of an Internet Protocol, IP, packet that enables proper addressing and routing. Term: IP Helper. Definition: a DHCP relay agent that can forward DHCP discover messages to the DHCP server on a remote subnet. Term: ipconfig. Definition: a Microsoft Windows command that can be used to display IP address configuration parameters on a PC. In addition, if the PC uses DHCP, the ipconfig command can be used to release and renew a DHCP lease, which can be useful during troubleshooting. Term: IPv4 address classes. Definition: predefined ranges of IP addresses, classes A, B, C, D, and E, designed to allocate addresses based on network size, with Class A for large networks, Class B for medium-sized networks, Class C for small networks, Class D for multicast, and Class E reserved for experimental use. Term: IPv6 addressing. Definition: an updated version of IPv4 that uses 128-bit addresses to provide a vastly larger pool of unique IP addresses compared to IPv4, enabling more efficient routing and addressing in modern networks. Term: jitter. Definition: the uneven arrival of packets. Term: jumbo frames. Definition: Ethernet frames with a payload size significantly larger than the standard 1500 bytes, typically up to 9,000 bytes, used to improve network efficiency by reducing overhead. Term: jump box. Definition: a secure intermediary server that administrators use to access and manage devices on a network, often isolated in a different security zone. Term: jump host. Definition: a different term for a jump box in a network topology. Term: key management. Definition: the processes and systems for generating, distributing, storing, and handling cryptographic keys to ensure secure encryption and decryption of data. Term: latency. Definition: a measure of the delay in a network. Term: Layer 1 diagrams. Definition: diagrams that represent the physical layout of a network, including cables, hardware devices, and their physical connections. Term: Layer 2 diagrams. Definition: diagrams that illustrate data link layer information, detailing network switches, MAC addresses, and VLAN configurations. Term: Layer 2 encapsulation. Definition: a feature of VXLAN that encapsulates a Layer 2 Ethernet frame from a virtual machine, VM, or host into a Layer 3 UDP packet. Term: Layer 2 Ethernet switch. Definition: a transparent switch that is not capable of routing. This switch tends to be lower cost and is designed for access layers in Ethernet networks. Term: Layer 3 diagrams. Definition: diagrams that show the network layer components, including routers, IP addresses, subnets, and routing protocols. Term: lease time. Definition: the amount of time that a DHCP client gets to maintain its DHCP learned information before it must surrender or renew this information. Term: least privilege. Definition: an important security best practice that dictates that every user who interacts with the network should always be using a user account that has the least privileges required to do their job. Term: licensing asset inventory. Definition: an inventory that tracks the procurement, deployment, and usage of software licenses to ensure compliance with vendor agreements. Term: lifecycle management. Definition: the process of overseeing the planning, acquisition, deployment, maintenance, and disposal of assets or systems to ensure they meet organizational needs and optimize their value and performance throughout their lifespans. Term: Lightweight Access Point, or LWAP. Definition: a Wi-Fi access point that relies on a central controller for configuration and management, simplifying deployment and network maintenance. Term: Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, LDAP. Definition: an open standard for storing directory information for the network, such as usernames and passwords, and other user and computer parameters. Term: Lightweight Directory Access Protocol over SSL, LDAPs. A secure version of LDAP in which Secure Socket Layer, SSL, provides protection. Term: Link Aggregation. Definition: as defined by the IEEE 802.3AD standard, a process that allows multiple physical connections to be logically bundled into a single logical connection. Term: Link Layer Discovery Protocol, LLDP. Definition: a vendor-neutral protocol used by network devices to advertise their identity and capabilities to neighbors. Term: Load Balancer. Definition: a networking device that distributes traffic from clients or other sources to multiple nodes to increase performance and availability. Term: Local Connector, LC. Definition: a terminating device used with fiber optic cabling. Term: Localhost. Definition: refers to the default host name that a computer uses to identify itself, typically corresponding to the IP address 127.0.0.1 on a client system. This address is commonly used to test network services locally. Term: Lockable. Cabinets or racks for network equipment that have locking cages over them to assist with physical security. Term: Locks. Definition: mechanical or electronic devices used to restrict access to a building, room, or container, ensuring that only authorized individuals with the proper key, code, or credential can gain entry. Term: Log Aggregation. Definition: the process of collecting and centralizing log data from various sources into a single location for easier monitoring, analysis, and troubleshooting. Term: Logic Bomb. Definition: an attacker's malicious code that resides in a software system and will be triggered when certain conditions are met. Term: Logical Diagrams. Definition: a diagram that focuses on how information flows through a network infrastructure. Such diagrams tend to omit details used in physical network diagrams because the concern is with the overall information flows through many underlying network devices. Term: Logical Security. Definition: the protection of digital systems and data through software-based measures, such as authentication, encryption, and access controls, to prevent unauthorized access or breaches. Term: Loopback. Definition: a logical virtual interface on a network device that is often used for testing purposes. Term: MAC filtering. Definition: a security method in which the MAC address assigned to each network card is used to determine access to the network. It is often used as an additional security measure in Wi-Fi environments. Term: Mail Exchange MX. Definition: a DNS record that maps a domain name to an email server for that domain. Term: Main Distribution Frame, MDF. Definition: a central point in a computer network where incoming lines from external networks connect to internal network wiring, serving as the primary hub for distributing and managing network connections. Term: Malware. Definition: a catch-all term for the various types of viruses, worms, spyware, trojans, and other malicious software or code on a network. Term: Management Information Base. Definition: a database of variables that exists on an SNMP-managed device. Term: Maximum Transmission Unit, MTU. Definition: the largest size of a data packet that can be transmitted over a network medium without requiring fragmentation. It is typically measured in bytes and can help efficient data transmission by preventing packets from being too large for the network to handle. Term: Mean Time Between Failures, MTBF. Definition: the predicted elapsed time between inherent failures in a mechanical system. Term: mean time to repair, MTTR. Definition: the predicted time it takes to repair a network or network object. Term: media access control, MAC, flooding. Definition: a network-based exploit in which an attacker overwhelms a network switch by sending many packets with spoofed MAC addresses. Term: media converter. Definition: a device that connects different types of network devices together, such as a fiber optic device that needs to communicate with a twisted pair device in a network segment, or an adapter used to facilitate connectivity in an environment with a wide variety of copper and fiber cabling used by different network devices. Term: mesh. Definition: a network topology where multiple wireless nodes work together to provide seamless, extended coverage and robust connectivity by dynamically routing data through the most efficient path. Term: metric. Definition: a value assigned to a route. Lower metrics are preferred over higher metrics. Term: multi-fiber push-on, MPO, connector. Definition: a type of fiber optic connector that can simultaneously connect multiple optical fibers, typically used for high-density network applications. It facilitates quick and efficient connections in data centers and telecommunication networks. Term: multicast. Definition: a one-to-many communication flow. Term: multi-factor authentication, MFA. Definition: a type of authentication that requires two or more types of successful authentication before access to a network is granted. Term: multi-layer switch. Definition: a switch that can make traffic forwarding decisions based on Layer 3 information. These powerful devices are often modular, so it is possible to equip them with the perfect number of interfaces for Layer 2 and Layer 3 functionality. Term: multimode fiber, or MMF. Definition: a type of fiber optic cabling that has a core with a diameter large enough to permit the injection of light at multiple angles. The different paths, that is, modes, that light travels can lead to multimode delay distortion, which causes bits to be received out of order because the pulses of light representing the bits travel different paths and therefore different distances. Term: multi-tenancy. Definition: a situation in which physical servers in the public cloud infrastructure are hosting workloads for many different customers. Term: name resolution. Definition: the process of translating human-readable domain names into their corresponding IP addresses. Term: name server NS. Definition: a DNS record that delegates a DNS zone to use the given authoritative name servers. Term: NAT64. Definition: a technology that facilitates communication between IPv6-only clients and IPv4-only servers, helping to bridge the gap between the two distinct IP address families. Term: native VLAN. Definition: the default VLAN on a trunk port that carries untagged traffic between switches in an 802.1q tagged network. Term: netstat. Definition: a command that can display a variety of information about IP-based connections on a Windows or Unix host. Term: network access control, NAC. Definition: a process that uses a set of protocols to ensure that users are identified immediately when they try to access the network. An NAC system might integrate automatic remediation processes that can fix issues with host systems so that they are brought into compliance with corporate security policies. Term: network address translation, or NAT. Definition: a technology that allows private IP addresses, as defined in RFC 1918, to be translated into Internet Routable IP addresses, that is, public IP addresses. Term: network address translation, NAT, gateway. Definition: a managed service that enables private network instances within a virtual private cloud to access the Internet while providing secure outbound traffic routing and NAT functionality, ensuring seamless connectivity without exposing internal IP addresses. Term: network diagram. Definition: a graphical representation that illustrates the structure, components, connections, and relationships within a computer network. Term: network discovery. Definition: the automated process of identifying and mapping devices, services, and connections within a network to provide a comprehensive overview of the network's topology and assets. Term: network functions virtualization, NFV. Definition: a process for virtualizing aspects of a network, such as security, storage, compute, and monitoring services. Term: network interface layer. Definition: the layer of the TCP/IP stack, also known as the network access layer, that encompasses the technologies addressed by layers 1 and 2, that is, the physical and data link layers, of the OSI model. Term: network layer. Definition: Layer 3 of the OSI model, which is primarily concerned with forwarding data based on logical addresses. Term: network loops. Definition: occur when multiple paths exist between two network devices, causing data to circulate indefinitely and potentially leading to network congestion or failure. Term: network security group. Definition: an access control list that protects virtual machine resources in the cloud. This list specifies the type and source of traffic that is permitted to flow into and out of the cloud-based virtual machine. Term: network security list. Definition: an access control list that protects entire subnets in a virtual private cloud. These lists seek to control traffic flows into and out of and between subnets in the VPC. Term: network segmentation enforcement. Definition: the practice of dividing a network into smaller, isolated segments to limit access and control traffic flow, thereby enhancing security and reducing the risk of unauthorized access or the spread of threats. Term: network time protocol, NTP. Definition: a protocol that strives to ensure that network devices, including client systems, have the correct time and date. NTP uses port 123. Term: network time security, NTS. Definition: a security protocol designed to protect NTP communications from various types of attacks, ensuring integrity and authenticity. Term: network attached storage, or NAS. Definition: a centralized storage device that connects to a network, enabling multiple users and devices to access and share files. Term: Nmap. Definition: a management tool that permits the scanning of a network for hosts and services. Term: non-authoritative name server. Definition: provides DNS responses based on cached information rather than being the original source of the DNS records. Term: non-overlapping channels. Definition: frequency bands in Wi-Fi networks that do not interfere with each other, allowing multiple devices to communicate simultaneously without cross-channel interference. Non-overlapping channels in the 2.4 GHz band are channels 1, 6, and 11. Channel overlap is not an issue in the 5 GHz band. Term: north-south traffic flows. Definition: the flow of user traffic in a data center from the top layer of the hierarchy to the bottom layer and vice versa. Term: notifications. Definition: automated alerts or messages generated by a system to inform users or administrators about specific events, changes, or conditions that require attention. Term: NS lookup. Definition: a command that can resolve a fully qualified domain name, FQDN, to an IP address on Microsoft Windows and Unix hosts. Term: omnidirectional antenna. Definition: an antenna that radiates power at relatively equal power levels in all directions, somewhat similar to the theoretical isotropic antenna. Omnidirectional antennas are popular in residential WANs and SOHO locations. Term: on-path attack. Definition: an attack in which an attacker attempts to get in the direct path between a client and a server in order to eavesdrop. If cryptography is being used and the attacker fools the client and server both into building VPNs to the attacker instead of to each other, the attacker can see all the data in plaintext, formerly known as a man-in-the-middle attack. Term: open shortest path first, OSPF. Definition: a link state routing protocol that uses the metric cost, which is based on the link speed between two routers. OSPF is a popular interior gateway protocol, IGP, because of its scalability, fast convergence, and vendor interoperability. Term: Open Systems Interconnection, OSI, Reference Model. Definition: a 7-layer model that categorizes various network technologies, commonly referred to as the OSI model or the OSI stack. Term: Operating System OS updates. Definition: periodic releases from the operating system vendor that include security patches, new features, and improvements to system performance. Term: Operational Technology, OT. Definition: the hardware and software used to detect or cause changes through direct monitoring and control of physical devices, processes, and events in industrial settings. Term: Out-of-band management. Definition: management traffic that is sent outside the networks used for data traffic. It tends to be more secure than in-band management. Term: packet capture. Definition: a software tool or sometimes hardware tool used to intercept, record, and analyze network traffic by capturing data packets traveling across a network. Term: packet loss. Definition: the failure of data packets to reach their intended destination across a network, resulting in incomplete or missing information. Term: partial mesh topology. Definition: a hybrid of a hub-and-spoke topology and a full mesh topology that can be designed to provide an optimal route between selected sites, while avoiding the expense of interconnecting every site to every other site. Term: patch panel. Definition: a box designed as a junction point for twisted pair, TP, cable, and fiber optic cable used in networks, also known as a patch bay. Term: patches. Definition: updates to software that fix security vulnerabilities, fix bugs, or add minor enhancements to improve functionality. Term: payload. Definition: a simple and generic method of describing data itself, which is separate and distinct from any of the other information required for proper transmission. Term: Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards, PCI DSS. Definition: a set of security standards designed to ensure that all companies that accept, process, store, or transmit credit card information maintain a secure environment. Term: performance monitoring. Definition: the continuous tracking and analysis of system metrics to ensure optimal functioning and identify potential issues in hardware, software, or network operations. Term: phishing. Definition: an attack that uses email or other messages to attempt to capture authentication information or other information from an end user. Term: physical diagrams. Definition: a diagram of specific parts of a network, which typically includes documentation of physical device names, locations, and ports. Term: physical layer. Definition: layer 1 of the OSI model, which is concerned with the transmission of bits on a network. Term: physical security. Definition: the protection of personnel, hardware, software, networks, and data from physical actions and events that could cause damage or unauthorized access. Term: ping. Definition: one of the most commonly used command line commands, which can check IP connectivity between two network devices. Multiple platforms, for example routers, switches, and hosts, support the ping command.